everyone. I am Ankita Jain. I have secured All India Rank 3 this time. So in our lecture series, this is 4th lecture. And today I'll be talking about answer writing, notes making, specifically for GS2 and GS3, and in that very specifically for polity and economy. Hope this lecture helps you. So let's get started. Okay. So we'll be focusing more on polity and economy. However, you can apply the same strategy for the other subjects in GS2 and GS3. So first I'll start with the quote. Practice makes perfect. After a long time of practicing, our work will become natural, skillful, swift, and steady. So for mains, what is most important is the answer writing practice. In this stressful condition, in the end, you won't be able to understand question if you have not practiced answer writing well. It really helps you to perform in a very stressful condition, because in the end, generally what happens that we are left with 4 to 5 minutes for one question. So in that 5 minutes, you will have to write your answers, and that too quality answers. And that comes only through practice. So going forward, today's agenda will be sources. I'll share from where you should make notes. What are the sources you can refer, how to prepare notes. I'll share some answer writing tips, and also I'll share it with some examples. I'll show how to write answers. For examples, I'll take the previous year, basically 2020 question paper. Okay. And then I'll talk about the upcoming video in a very brief way. Coming to sources, first I'll talk about prelims. Actually, I have already mentioned about the book list. So for prelims, for basically polity, governance, and IR, you can refer Lakshmikant. You can refer test series, and you can also refer magazines, monthly magazines, PT 365 and All India Inclusive IAS YouTube channel. And I think this is enough. Basically, your IR will get covered through current affairs. Governance also will get covered through current affairs, and polity mainly from Lakshmikant. For economy, environment, science and tech, which is basically GS3. For prelims, you can refer Shriram IAS or Munal notes. For economy, monthly magazines, PT 365, all inclusive IAS. I have already made a video on how to handle current affairs. There I have explained how to make notes from current affairs. Okay, for prelims, mains, and interview. You can refer that if you have any doubt how to refer these stuff. And then test series and NCRTs of 11th and 12th for economy. For environment, you can refer Shankar IAS notes. I'm telling you only the notes, okay? I have not taken their coaching. I have referred their notes. These notes are available in the market. You can refer it. And for science and tech, current affairs should be enough if you have some science background. If you are not from science background, you may consider reading NCRTs for science and tech from 8th or 9th class onwards. Coming to sources of means, polity, governance, IR, which is broadly your GS2. I referred Empuri notes. So Empuri sirs, actually, I was enrolled in the classroom coaching for GS2 of Empuri sirs. Oh, these were these proved quite beneficial for me, because in my previous mains, my score in GS2 was 114, and this time also I have my score was 117, I think, in GS2. And for mains, Lakshmikant should be referred selectively. Those things which are in news can be referred from Lakshmikant. There will be less factual questions, and more questions will be related to analysis of the current affairs, which will get covered with Empuri notes, test series, and your current affairs from the monthly magazines, main 365, and all inclusive IAS. This is a good channel. They actually give you PDF also. You can refer PDF, but make sure that if there some point is like a general point, suppose they have written some points in pros or in the favor of some topic or in the against of subtopic, that point should not be very general. It should have something which is substantiating it, like some example should be there or some fact should be there. Okay, take care of that. For economy, environment, and science and tech, you will require mainly, I referred mainly these things: current affairs, test series, and NCRTs. I prepared notes from these sources. For your mains, there should be only one repository for GS2, one repository for GS3, and then similarly for other papers also. If you want to clear mains, there are two basic things. One is notes, and second is answer writing. Okay, third important thing is you should complete your paper. Okay, basically you should attempt all questions. Fill all sheets. For mains, if you have mastery over these three, no, I can guarantee you will clear mains. Your notes should be good. I'll explain how you can prepare notes, keeping mains in mind. And if you are working, then notes making and answer writing is very, very important. And for answer writing, actually, I used to do a lot of answer writing. Irrespective of me clearing mains, prelims, I used to enroll for the test series and I used to write answers. So answer writing is very important. So by the time I reached my fourth attempt, and it was only my second mains, okay, I had written 4 test series of GS and 4 test series of my optional. So that is the importance of writing, answer writing. You can stop your video and note down if you want to these sources. Now coming to notes making for prelims. How to make notes for polity. So for polity, making notes from Lakshmikant is very difficult. What I did was I made notes from only specific sections, like some sections only, like the chapters in the end, constitutional bodies, non-constitutional bodies, like the chapters which are in the end, which are quite factual. You can prepare their notes, but it is very difficult to make notes of fundamental rights, DPSP, fundamental duties. Making notes for these are difficult. So I just prepared for some sections from Lakshmikant. And then I referred, I have actually explained how to make notes for prelims for current affairs. So current affairs, how you prepare notes, you can refer my video, okay, to know how to prepare notes of polity. And also this time I made notes of my mistakes. So suppose if I attempt one test paper, mock test paper, and I'm making some mistakes, I used to write it down. I generally for polity, I followed, online note making, like making notes digitally. So that was, excuse me. So that was important. It helped me remember my mistakes. It helped me identify the areas where my focus is more required. For economy, notes making was done from NCRT and from Shriram IAS notes. But the question is how to actually prepare notes from these. So I would suggest read these things at least twice before making notes. Now, after reading them 2 times, you will be able to identify the areas which are more important, which should be added in the notes. Your notes should be very crisp. Whatever you are writing in the notes should make sense. You are not supposed to write stories in the notes. So after reading it 2 times, start marking, like underlining the important points. And then give it a third reading. By the time you read it thrice, start making notes. You should underline it during your second reading. In the first reading, you will end up underlining everything. So in the third reading, start making notes. You can copy paste from here, or you can write in your own words for prelims, for NCERT and Shriram IAS. So this is how you prepare your notes. And if you have time, try to make them more crisp. If you have shorter notes, you will be able to revise more number of times, which is actually required in the prelims. Now, and anything is fine. You can make notes online also, or you can make your handwritten notes. I prefer making notes online for prelims because it is easier to update. Okay, now making notes for mains is tricky. So I'll explain both the ways of making notes, handwritten also and online also. So how do you make notes for mains? So for first you have to segregate, topic, like for GS2, you should have topic wise segregation. Okay. And for one topic, try to make a 1-page note. How do you make a 1-page note? Divide your page in 4 parts. Here you will write the positive. Here you will write the negative. Here you will write the facts. And here you will leave blank for further updation. If some new thing has come or something which is relevant for the topic has come, you can write it here if there is no space here. So this is how you can make your handwritten notes. And when in the end you want to revise, like just before the exams, revise only this portion, because facts are very much required in your answer, and these things will get internalized by the time you reach the stage of writing mains. This will get internalized. This portion will get internalized because you would have revised it many times. But facts are something which is very difficult to memorize, so you should revise facts as many times, and specifically just before the mains try to revise at least facts. Okay. And see, there is no hard and fast rules that you have to make notes only in 1 page. They can extend to 2 pages also, but try to make it in 1 page. That will help you. That will help you make your notes crisp. Okay. In online notes also, what you can include it for a topic, try to figure out these areas: introduction, various views like positive, negative, pros, cons, then government schemes, or there is any international model like these. Some solutions, if this is a problem, then you should have solutions in your notes, and something to write in conclusions. You can write government schemes, international models in conclusion. You can have a positive conclusion. For example, if you're writing something in GS2, in conclusion you can mention about Supreme Court judgment, or you can give some government scheme which is implementing that particular whatever is asked in the question, or you can give some international model. If you have discussed some problem, you can give a successful model, be it international, national, local. You can mention that. Okay, so that will show that you have some solution oriented approach. So keep in mind these things, okay, whenever you make a note for a topic and keep updating them. The benefit of making notes online is you can update them easily. Now, what you should keep in mind while answer writing. Now we are coming to answer writing part. Notes making is done. Okay, you're clear with the handwritten and online stuff, no? Now coming to answer writing part. So what helped me was this. There are videos of Ashima Mittal madam on answer writing. Do check those videos. They were very helpful. Then try to focus on keywords. Keywords just not just like discuss. These are of course keywords for a question. Some other keywords in the question, like if they have asked you about center-state relation, this is a keyword. Okay, and then if they have asked you about the need, what is the need of this particular step, then this need is a keyword. This can become a heading of your answer. I'll show how in the video. And then your answer should be both analytical and factual. What makes your answer analytical? It will be, it will get reflected in your presentation also, how you are presenting your answer. Because generally we break down something in a structure. If your answer is well structured, it will show that you have an analytical mind which has analyzed this particular topic, this particular question in some structure, that there are some parts which needs to be answered, which needs to be focused, and also factual. So whatever you are writing in the, suppose you have written one point, okay, you are saying that this particular thing is a good, okay, now you should substantiate why this is good. Okay, Supreme Court has said that it is good. That will give it more credibility. Okay, it should be factual and analytical. So basically structure is part of your analytical skills only. So you will, if you analyze your question and give it a structure, it will fetch you marks. Presentation is equally important. Content is important, and the other thing is the presentation. Content, presentation. Understanding the question. So you should be able to divide your question in parts and then focus only on those parts while answering. That will help you, focus your, direct your attention to one particular part at one particular time. And that then you will be able to, think about more points also in that particular direction only. Suppose I have broken down my question in some positive and some negative. So while writing positive, I'll be focusing only on positive. That will give my mind some direction that at this particular time, you're supposed to think about only the positive part. And when you reach the negative part, then your mind will be focusing only on in that particular direction. That will help you in writing more points, in recalling more points. So understanding the question, understand what is asked, and try to break it down in as many parts as you can. So it will show some depth in your answers. I'll explain you how you will do this understanding and breaking the question. Now, what is the general structure of your answers? Suppose you are answering a 20 marker question. So this will be your page. 3 pages you will get. From here to here, there will be question. You will write your introduction in this particular part. Try to write only on 3-4 lines, not more than that. Now comes your first heading. Try to break your 15 marker. I forgot. I was in optional mode. So it is a 15 marker question. You have 3 pages. Try to break your question at least in 3 headings. At least. You can break in more headings also. So you will put one heading here, and then you will start writing its points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 5. Do not write less than 3 points. It will give a impression that you do not know about this particular thing. If you do not have content, then write in paragraph. Then one more heading, then you will write about more points. One point will come either here or here. Then one more heading, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this space is left. This is conclusion. Try to write crisp conclusion, 3 lines. Okay. Actually, there is no hard and fast rule that you have to write it in only 3 lines or 4 lines. Ideally, you should try to write it in 3 to 4 lines. You can modify it as per the demand of the question. This is how you should write your answer ideally. Okay. So what extra I do, like this time what I did is I tried to give one more dimension. Suppose they have asked me about something like which is breakable in 3 parts, and in the 3rd part you have discussed problem. Now after discussing problem, I never left my answers only at the problems. I used to write some solutions also, some way forward, how to resolve. These were my headings in the end. How to resolve, way forward, what can be done. So this will show that your answer has a solution oriented approach. You're not just talking about the problem, because knowing problem is easy, but knowing solution is a difficult thing, and it is actually the thing which is required. Okay. So this is how. So you will have a 4th heading. Now you will accordingly shift your headings up. If you have 4 headings, then your 2nd heading come here, 3rd heading comes here, so that your 4th heading comes here, something like that. And your answer will look more comprehensive also. This is how you manage. You can even write 5 headings, but that would be too much. And but if you are able to break the question, if it is the demand of the question, feel free to break it in the 5 headings. And one more thing, while writing like for 15 marker question, try to give at least 15 points, at least. And if possible, if you can extend it to 20 points, it will be really good. That will show that you know a lot about the question. And now how to write the introduction. No, first I'll discuss about the 10 marker question, and then I'll tell you how to write introduction and conclusion. Now 10 marker question. So you will have 2 pages in 10 marker question. This will be your question. Okay, this much space is already taken. Now you will write your introduction here. Your first heading starts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second heading here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then conclusion. So in 10 marker, try to write at least 2 headings. And in 2 headings, into 5 points each, 10 points at least. Now what if you are able to break it in more headings? No, if you are able to break 10 marker in your 3 headings, that will give you a lot of benefits, because then you will have to write less point per heading. So you will have to do less thinking time. So 3 headings into 4 points, 12 points. So try to do it like this way. So try to write 10 to 15 points in a 10 marker question. See, I'm just saying the ideal answer. There could be some answers where you are not able to recall these many points. So 7 and 8 points are also fine. If you have less time, you cannot devote it in just thinking, you can end up writing 7, 8 points. So generally what happens, in your answer sheet, like you have 20, you will write at least 6 answers. Generally 6 answers which are your best. Then a lot of questions would be like how many? 8 questions would be 8 answers would be like average, and then you'll end up 6 answers would be like bad. If I do it for like 2 answers would be like really worse. But it is okay, it happens with everyone. Do not try to judge yourself at this particular time. In the exam, you have to keep in mind only one thing. You have to just write the answer. Fill these pages, break the question, complete the answer, fill the pages. That is your goal. Okay, that is your only goal. No, do not try to judge yourself on this. Space management and time management is the thing in the exam writing. And how you reach here 10-15 points, this comes from your notes and your answer writing practice. If you're doing it well, no, you would be able to achieve this. Okay. Now, what can be your introduction? What you can write in your introduction and in your conclusion. Introduction, you can give some facts, focus on giving some facts. Do not give away your fact of your, points in your heading. Fact which you know, which won't be utilized in your actual answer should be utilized in the intro or in conclusion. Okay, I'll explain it through example. And you can focus on definition. Definition should be preferred less. Like it should be preferred less in GS2 and GS3. Only as per the demand of the question. If question has asked you to explain, then only you should go for definition. In fact, if question has asked you to explain one definition, then make definition a separate heading and start your introduction with some facts only. In fact, you can mention some recent news. You can mention some report data just to substantiate some statement if it's there. And what else you can mention in introduction? Or some you can start with some SC judgment which was related to that particular question. Generally, SC judgments get utilized in the points or in the conclusion. Supreme Court judgments or reports could be international reports, CAG reports, some reputed reports. Okay. Or some general data like how many people are there in agriculture. You can start with that general data. And there are many, many bodies which give report, such as NSSO and ILO, WHO. So you can give reports of these bodies. You can focus on your national bodies also. And in conclusion, what you should write? A forward-looking conclusion. Or something which was recent and which caught everyone's eye. For example, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. This can be utilized in your answers, in your conclusion, as per the requirement of the question. So try to write some which was very relevant. Like if there is some question related to community participation, then this can be utilized in the conclusion. If there is some question related to, suppose, agriculture, then this doubling farmers' income by 2022 can be utilized. Or you can use committee reports, some recommendation from committee reports, its name you can use and conclude with that this committee has said this thing, and like this should be done as mentioned by this particular committee. And generally how I write my points is this is about the conclusion. You can utilize government schemes also in this. And how do you write your points? So I first used to write my point, and then if this point was given by some committee, in the bracket I used to mention that committee name. No need to write that as has been said by this particular committee. No, it's not required. Just write the point and the committee name or report, whatever. For example, if I'm saying that women participation in the labor force has decreased suppose this is some point of some question, then I'll mention the data and which committee has said this, or I'll mention that women participation has decreased to this particular percentage as said by this particular committee. So has decreased by this much percentage, and as mentioned, I won't write, I just mentioned the committee name or report name, like you have to mention. And when you are writing, suppose you have some example to substantiate your point, that women do well in SHGs, then you can substantiate with examples. Some examples, like in Madhya Pradesh, you have a lot of SHGs, or you can mention some other SHG examples here. In example, make a like a box. So it will give you a examiner, like then examiner will actually read it. And this is the stuff you want to tell examiner, that I know a lot of facts about the question. And do underline your report, committee name or report name, do underline that. Do underline the fact. If there is something important, if you're mentioning somewhere that Supreme Court judgment was there, then do underline the Supreme Court. And if it is possible to write a Supreme Court judgment name, like there is Puttaswamy judgment, if you're mentioning the name also, it would be good, and you can underline it. Don't forget to underline it, because it will show that it will make the examiner actually read that stuff. So by underlining, you actually you guide the examiner what to read and what not to read. So you can basically hide your mistakes by underlining your good stuff. Okay, this is how you do answer writing. Now going forward, okay, so this is how you write your answers. Now I'll explain with the examples. So what it is saying, that what is the question? So it is a 10 marker question. There is a need for simplification of procedure. Need for simplification of procedure. Kiska, what kind of procedure? Disqualification of persons found guilty of corrupt practices. Under what? Representation of People's Act. Comment means you're supposed to write your views, whether this should be done or not. So when we are supposed to comment, we'll see both the sides. So first I'll write this answer with some fact. First I'll start with the I'll mention some sections. This is intro part, sections where according to which sections of RPA, according to which the which talks about the corrupt practices. This is one way of writing its introduction. Another way is, if there was some recent something in news where the corrupt practices section was talked about of RPA, you can mention that news also. Now, what would be your second heading? So they are asking about the need for simplification. They want simplification of procedure, which means there are some complications in the procedure. And what exactly is the procedure? Procedure we have talked about, sections. For disqualification of persons found guilty of corrupt practices. So you will talk about need. So what is the need? So why it is required? So you will talk about why simplification is required. So basically in favor of simplification. So your heading will be need, because need is what is asked in the question. So if everyone knows there is need, why they're not able to do it? So you'll write some but there are some issues in simplification. Now I'll make a third heading also. What can be done? how to resolve. So this will give a comprehensive picture that I know there is need, but it has not been done so far because there are some issues why it is not possible right now to simplify. Then I'll say, yes, we know that there is need, we know there are issues, but there should be some way to resolve it. What can be done? And then I'll conclude with some positive thing, like something related to ethics, or something which shows that RPA, something good about RPA. You can talk about that RPA empowers people. Yeah, you can talk about how election is important, like that, but with some concrete data, with some concrete facts, some concrete keyword which will catch the attraction, through to which the examiner can relate. So this will give me 3 headings: conclusion and intro. When you are writing this, in this particular way, it is very difficult for examiner to actually deduct your marks. Now, coming to second example. Strength and sustenance of local institutions in India. What are the local institutions? PRIs, ULBs. Has shifted from their formative phase of, we are told that there are 3F problems in the local institution in the third tier of governance, to the contemporary stage of functionality. Highlight the critical challenges faced by the local institutions in terms of their functionality in recent times. So they're saying that you have to focus on the functionality, challenges related to functionality, and that they have shifted from functions to functionaries. So there are two statements. So you have to give respect to both. Although your question is mainly this, but you have to give respect to this also. And this is a 15-marker question. So my introduction, I'll mention the articles or sections of Constitution through which our local institutions of PRIs and ULBs are established. Okay. And then I'll talk about some like they said, you have to talk about the formative phase. So I'll talk something about the formative phase, what they were. Now the thing has been shifted to the contemporary stage. This should be very, this should not take, this whole stuff should not take more than 1 page, and ideally it should get completed in your 75% of the page, of the first page. Now comes the contemporary stage, where you are supposed to highlight the. Now we'll talk about what is functionality. In the formative phase, you can actually talk about functions, functionaries, and funds. Whether you here you are just telling the examiner that I know what is function, functionary, and funds meaning in context of local institutions. In the contemporary stage, you will mention what is functionality according to you in a very brief way, like in 2 lines. And then you will highlight the challenges as per the functionality. What are the challenges? Functionality, they are not working properly. Why they are not working properly? So you'll mention about the functionality, that there are restrictions in their functionality, like whatever the challenges are, like related to devolution of powers and all stuff. While writing this, I realized that whatever challenges I was writing here were actually related to the functionaries and funds. So in this question, after saying this and this, I mentioned third thing, that these contemporary stage has their root in formative stage. stage has root in formative stage. This became my third heading. And then I mentioned how this functionality is related to the function, functionaries, and funds. Here I gave that analysis. Okay, these headings completed. Now comes the fourth heading. Since they have asked you the challenges, they have asked you the problem. Now you are supposed to write the solution. What can be done? Yeah, how to tackle. Here you will give your points to resolve this problem. This will make your question comprehensive. And in conclusion, you will write good thing. What good thing is that? You can mention the Gandhiji's telling that the real governance is the grassroots level governance, right? So this will make your answer very comprehensive. So in this question, what we have done, we have divided our question in many parts: introduction, conclusion, and then there are 4 headings, 3, and this is 4th. And it is also solution based approach, and it will actually less thinking because you have all the content. You just have to revolve your correct content according to the demand of the question. Now coming to the answer writing of GS3. These are examples of GS3 of 2020 paper. What it is saying that you have to explain the intergenerational, this is a 10-marker question, intergenerational issues of equity from the perspective of inclusive growth and sustainable development. Sustainable development will have like intergenerational is very directly related to it. Inclusive, intragenerational is quite related to it. This is like very forward. You like just by looking at the question, you know that this is related. But inclusive growth is also related to generation. We become inclusive when we include generations. Our development is sustainable when everyone is growing. That is intergenerational. So both the words are related to both the keywords of these two. So what you can do is explain the issues of equity. So in this, what I did was I explained what is inclusive growth and sustainable growth, sustainable development for me. Then I mentioned intra-generational issues. What are intergenerational issues? These are very basic. Women inclusion, gender, caste, women, all genders, na? Caste, and other intergenerational issues. And intergenerational, this is my second heading. First is intragenerational, second is intergeneration. And it is saying explain. So basically, you are giving the issues. What are the issues? And you will try to explain them in 2 ways. Issues like environment related, because we won't have environment related like water scarcity will be there in generation, as mentioned by some report. Which report? Sorry. So it was mentioned by World Bank that there will be scarcity. And intergenerational issues, what will be there? Resources, basically related to resources, because we are utilizing this, we are exploiting resources at a faster pace. So all these issues will come in the intergenerational issues. Now you have talked about the issues, so you will give the solutions. Third is what can be done, what can we do. Then you will say some points, and then in the end how you will end. So here you can say sabka saath wala part. सबका साथ, inclusive, no? So सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास वाला part. So this is how you write your answers. So in 10 marker only, I have given a lot of content. And did I invent anything new? No, you know already. This is very basic knowledge. You just have to substantiate your points, okay? Substantiate your points well. Now coming to fourth example. This is a 15 marker question. What it is saying, that explain the rationale behind GST compensation to states act of this. How has new federal tensions impacted the fund, rational and goods and service? So it's about the this compensation to state tax act. So you can, in the intro, you can write about it. The GST Act, GST compensation to state act. This is one way. And in the second, like in the first heading would be rational behind it. It was invented for the good reasons. We'll mention the rational. Second is impact of COVID on fund. Like you should write the complete GST compensation fund here. That would be a second heading. Write some points, how it has impacted. You will give some questions, some data like this was the expected, it should be the amount in the fund should be like this, but it was less, like that you will mention, right? And how has COVID-19 impacted? You can explain, give it a lot of questions that people were not able to go to. So there was disruption in the logistic supply chain, and therefore the fund was like that, you will explain. Third headline, federal tensions. So there were a lot of things happened, no? Then they came up with the package. There were it was quite in the news. There were two options given. Option one, I actually mentioned like this, two options, and then you will write in this. Now we have talked about the issue, tensions, but how to resolve. Or if you have talked about these options, you can like explain this also. But it's good to always give the resolutions, how to resolve this issue. This becomes your fourth heading. And in the conclusion, what it has said, federal tension. So if you have some committee which has said that if you work in a particular way, you would be able to resolve it, then you can mention that we should do something like this as mentioned by this particular committee so as to go forward. Or you can talk about GST, like with the intentions it was formed. So it is it was formed with the very benign intentions, like that you can mention, and just give some keyword. So just to integrate the market and everything, like that you can mention something to which the examiner can relate. So this was the fourth example. So I'm done with the answer writing. I hope you are able to understand how you're supposed to break down the question and understand the question. Always try to analyze what is being asked. What is the purpose of asking? They just want to know whether you are able to have that solution oriented approach. Now coming to talking about the next video. In the next video, I'm planning to talk about philosophy and ethics, where I'll mention about the sources, notes making, and I'll talk about the answer writing with the examples. Okay. Thank you so much for a very peaceful hearing. This was a very longish lecture. Thank you and have a nice day.